big boy. I can say all day long, I refuse to politicize this discussion. And I have not, and I will not, because I represent Democrats and Republicans and independents and atheists and short people and tall people. And the politics makes no difference to me. I have no political agenda. I have no political aspirations. There's no politics here. I can say that, but we're still in an election year, and people are still playing politics, and this is a hyper-partisan environment. To the extent people want to politicize this issue, and Republicans are saying, well, New York did this. New York followed the president's agency's guidance. So that depoliticizes it. What New York did was follow what the Republican administration said to do. That's not my attempt to politicize it. It's my attempt to depoliticize it. So don't criticize the state for following the president's policy.
Do you believe that having thousands of those patients coming into nursing homes had absolutely nothing to do with the high number of infections and deaths that we've seen in New York?
Yeah, we've gone through the infection rate many times, and nothing has changed.
The 3 regions that opened last weekend, how likely is it that they'll enter phase 2 in this coming weekend?
We're watching the numbers. We're watching the numbers. We said 2 weeks between phases. That's a rule of thumb. There is no magic or science to that. That's not a hard and fast number. That, where the 2 weeks comes from is, quote unquote, experts say that's the margin of time that you have to leave to see if an infection did increase, and then the infection incubated, and then the infection manifested, and then the person got ill, and then the person went into the hospital. That would take about 2 weeks. But if you see no increase in any of the numbers, could you accelerate that? Yes.
Did they decide to move to phase 2, or do you decide to move to phase 2? Just procedurally.
The phase 2 is different than phase 1 because phase 1 is basically a hard start or stop, right? Either you hit this number or you don't hit this number. Phase 2, and Rob will correct me if I'm wrong, phase 2 is more a judgment call of when have the numbers stabilized. To the extent there is an increase, can you explain the increase, or is the increase problematic? But I don't think we have the 2 weeks I explained, I don't know that there are a hard set of numbers for phase 2. Right.
No, the 2 weeks is not set. As the governor points out, it relates to the CDC guidelines in relation to the 14-day incubation period. However, to go to phase 2, we would modify the executive order and then put out all of the guidelines for all of the phase 2 industries. So those are being prepared now. Those will be ready. So if we don't see any uptick in the health metrics, and it says, as the governor pointed out previously, you still have a green light, nothing has gone to yellow, then those regions would move to phase 2. We're monitoring each region.
Yesterday you signed an executive order allowing gatherings of up to 10 people. How do you think that's going to affect the infection rate in the state and the state's ability to reopen?
Theoretically, it shouldn't. It's a CDC guideline, also, the 10 people, gatherings up to 10. And look, it's the same answer to all of these questions, right? It depends on how people act. You can have a safe gathering of 10 people. You can also have a wholly unsafe gathering of 10 people. You can have an unsafe gathering of 3 people. You can have an unsafe gathering of 2 people. It only takes 2. Or you can have a safe gathering of 10. You know, it depends on what people do.
Did you feel pressure to make that move due to the Ignite Flu lawsuit that was filed on Friday?
I didn't even know about a lawsuit on this one.
You did not know about the lawsuit before?
No, and look, on any given day, if we don't have 3 lawsuits, something's going wrong.
Governor, just because at this rate you can have a gathering of more than 10 people, should you be having a gathering of more than 10 people?
Can you say it again?
Just because the executive order says you can have a gathering of up to 10 people, should people be gathering in that?
No, look, this is the whole point. All of these are measuring risk, right? Risk reward. My daughter Michaela's here today. Risk reward. It's one of my constant lectures. Is it worth the risk? 2 people is a risk, 3 people is a risk, 4 people is a risk, 5 people is a risk, 10 people is a risk. The risk keeps going up. Any one of those people could be infected. Any one of those people could be infected and not know it. Any one of those people could be infected, love you to death, and still give you the coronavirus, and then you could give it to someone, and it could kill someone. So is it worth the risk? You have to make that judgment. That's why I'm saying it has nothing to do with government at the end of the day. What is my role as governor? I have a whole operational role, get the hospitals running, get testing, get tracing, et cetera. But vis-a-vis people and the virus spread, I just give them the information and then say, please, here are the facts, please exercise diligence and judgment, please, please. And here's what happens on you if you don't. And here are the facts, and now you weigh the risk reward. But if you don't have to be with a group of 10 people, don't be with a group of 10 people. It doesn't mean, okay, governor signed an executive order up to 10, let's now have a party of 10 people. No.
Governor, considering the rising rates...
Last one, Mr. Jesse, go ahead.
Considering the rising rates in highly populous regions like Los Angeles County, Illinois, Texas, places that do a lot of travel in between New York and those locations, is there anything that you are considering, like future measures, to stop that second wave, considering that those regions seem to not have this under control?
If you're asking, would New York now quarantine against people coming from other locales into New York because they could be bringing a virus here? I don't think, first, mobility is way down, right? You have less tourism, less business travelers, et cetera. So on the numbers, I don't know how big an influx it is. Also, Jesse, I don't know that legally one state can bar other states from entrance, and I don't think it is good policy. I know when the shoe was on the other foot, there was talk of other states saying, well, I'm going to quarantine against New Yorkers coming here. I thought it was wrong then, and I think it's wrong now. Excuse me, let me just finish your question, Jesse. Go ahead, Jesse. Can I just finish? Can I finish Jesse's question, please?
I guess the only follow-up is there anything in the toolbox? Is there any, I don't know, cutting down on flights from places like that to kind of prevent, or what sort of thinking are you going through in order to prevent a second wave?
Well, look, the second wave, you can have people who come from outside and infect your population, right? That's how we got here in the first place. Where I'm really outraged is how we got infected from Europe when nobody told us. It was all about China, and we're all looking to the West on people coming from China, China travel ban. Meanwhile, it came from the East, and it came from Europe. And nobody ever said, watch out for those European travelers. They could be bringing the coronavirus, because by the time we closed down China, the virus had already left China and was in Europe, and then we have 3 million Europeans come. That's how this happened, which is still mind-boggling to me, that with all these global health organizations, with all these global health experts, public health experts, federal agencies, whole alphabet soup, nobody realized that the virus had left China and gone to Europe, and nobody realized that people from Europe were then traveling all over the world and bringing the virus, and nobody realized that planes from Europe land at JFK and Newark Airport. I mean, that is still, to me, mind-boggling. But that's how it came here in the first place. New York, a state government does not have the capacity. Look, I couldn't have done anything about it anyway, except yell, right? Legally, the state can't close its borders to European visitors. That's a federal action. I don't believe a state can close its borders to other states. I believe legally that would be challenged, and I'm not even sure the federal government could do that. So I don't believe there's a state role in setting borders. But even if we do get infected by someone, the question really then turns to controlling that infection, and that's testing, tracing, et cetera. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. We'll go through it tomorrow. I will talk to you tomorrow. Save the questions and we'll do it. You'll go first tomorrow.
Governor, do you anticipate being here tomorrow?